Hi, I'm Willie, and thanks for coming to my channel. Thank you to everyone for being here. Tonight, we're going to talk about Raspberry Pi Zero W and digital signage. So, let's take a look at exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I use this in the real world. First of all, if you don't know what a Raspberry Pi Zero is, it is a low-power, very low-cost computer, and this is it. It really is a single board, and I'm going to show you how big this is in just a second, or how big it isn't. And this is the kit that I use, and we'll come back to that because we're going to do this in a few videos. We're going to set this up and get it going, and then we're going to do some things that they don't teach you about how to manipulate the firewall and things like that, and kind of how we set up some best practices for security. So, the software that we're using is called Screenly Open Source Edition. And there's a couple different ways to get it. But what we're going to do in this video is we're going to download the custom image and then we're going to write it to our storage. So first of all, the Raspberry Pi does not come with a regular hard drive. It comes with an SD card. And this is the kit that I bought. Now, I have to tell you this, the one thing that you're going to be missing from this kit is an adapter to take your micro SD and make it a standard SD card. So if you have purchased any other kits, you can see this thing is tiny, tiny, but this actually is a micro SD card reader, and you slide the micro SD card in here, and then you just plug this into the USB of your computer. Or you can get, the full-size adapters and then have a card reader and put it in. Somehow you're going to have to write to the micro SD card. So let's take a look at what is in this kit. What do you get for 40 bucks? So you get a few things. The first thing you're going to notice is you get a power adapter. And this power adapter, I believe, is 5.2 volts, 1 amp. And so then it comes with the USB cable. Then the next thing you get is a case, and this is called the official case. And we'll take this out so you can see how small this is. Let's see, and it comes with a couple different tops for the case, and one of them is so if you want to use this one is if you want to use the GPIO headers that are on there, so that's open there. This other one, I think, is if you want to use the camera module, but we're just going to use the standard case. Now, if you want to get an idea of how small this really is, I don't know if any of you use chapstick or, like, I use Burt's Bees. So this is Burt's Bees, and this is the case. So it is not much bigger than my Burt's Bees. So pretty small, and so you could put a little piece of Velcro on this and put it on the back of the, something else in the kit. This must be for the, I wonder what came in there. Now you got me wondering, so we'll open this up. Oh, the other thing that's in here is it looks like we've got 4 little plastic feet that can go on the bottom of the case. So, I had no idea that this little ribbon connector was in there, so, that's, something else that was in there. We are likely not going to use that for what we're doing. Then what you're really waiting for is what's in this package. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. Maybe. I lost that new pocket knife. My new pocket knife, it flipped out of my pocket one day. I think it's laying in a Subway parking lot, as in the Subway sandwich restaurant. So then you get another USB adapter, because you'll notice here in a minute that these do not have full-size USB ports. Then you get the mini HDMI to standard HDMI adapter. You get a heat sink, which you may or may not need this depending on where you're deploying this at. Then you get a 16 gig SD card that has what they call noobs already on it. But we're going to use this and we're going to overwrite it with the Screenly image. And then this is the Raspberry Pi itself. So I'm going to show you this. So this is it. So where's my Burt's Bees? So Burt's Bees, so you can see, yeah, Burt's Bees works better than a banana here for scale. So you have over here, you have the, right here is the mini HDMI. Then you've got power and USB. This is powered over mini USB. Then you've got the camera connector over here, and then you've got your GPIO pins. So, and I actually have another kit that comes with, you know, a header that you can install in here. You can do all kinds of stuff. And then here's our SD card slot right there. So, yep, that's it. That's a $5 computer. And this is what we're going to do our digital signage with. So, the first thing that we're going to do is we'll put this guy, we'll put it in the case. So it's just going to fit down in there. And there are little plastic pegs in the bottom. So you can just slide it right over the little plastic pegs. And if you were paying attention, by the way, this is the W, so this has wireless, which is important because then we don't need any of the other, we don't need like some sort of a Ethernet dongle or anything like that. So you put the Raspberry Pi in the case like that, and then there's an opening here somewhere for our SD card. No, we'll have to pull this out, put our SD card in it, because there is not a slot for that. But then we'll put the top on it like this, and this is how big. This is your $5 computer, $5 computer that you're going to run digital signage on. So we'll put that together. Let's hop over to, if you've got any questions about the Raspberry Pi and any of the other projects that you do with it, we do with it. I do have a game station upstairs where I can play all of my emulated games that I legally own. So this is the kit. I'm going to leave a link to this down in the description. It will be my Amazon affiliate link, and it does not change your price. It just throws a couple bucks at the channel to keep things kind of rolling in. I'll also put a link to Screenly. So we're going to go over here, and we are going to download the custom image from GitHub. So they don't have the image for this yet, so we're going to scroll down to this one, and we are going to grab the 7/4/2017 Screenly OSE 4 gig image. So we'll go ahead and download this. Now it's worth noting that in the newer version of Raspbian, which is the version of Debian that is used for the Raspberry Pi, that SSH is disabled now by default. So what we're going to do after we put the image on is we're going to do a couple things. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to follow this instruction, because we're not going to hook this up to a monitor until we get the network configured. And so the first time you're going to see this, you know, in the next video, excuse me, is when I hook it up to my TV. So we will enable SSH because we're going to want to get in there and we're going to want to probably change a few things or take a look around at some of the options. So we'll enable SSH, and we will also set up our network. And we'll do that all through, we'll use Notepad++ to edit the file, so you'll see that. This guy is downloading. Once he's downloaded, we'll be back. Okay, so our download's complete. So let's show this in the folder. And we're going to go ahead and extract this guy, I do believe. So see this gives us an image. So while that's extracting, we are going to take our SD card out of the package. And if the video blipped there a little bit, I am recording and extracting that file. So all I have right now is I have my reader that I showed you. So that's where I am going to put the card. So I I'm going to take the card and I'm going to slide it in here, just like this. And now this thing looks just like a regular USB drive. Make sure that's all seated properly. And then we'll put it in the computer and see what happens. So that is still extracting. I better wait before I give the system anything else to do. Okay, so that's all extracted. And if we go into this folder, we can see the image there. So now I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to put him in the computer. And the computer is not going to blow up, but it is going to. You see we get this 16 gig card, and now we see CanaKit on there. And so now we're going to open up Etcher, and I'll put a link to Etcher as well. But it's a program for writing operating systems or images to SD and USB cards. But it looks like it's running, so we're going to select an image. And we're going to go to Downloads, and we're going to go to our Screenly, and then we're going to go to the image here. It already selected our F drive, so now we're going to say Flash. So this is going to start. It's going to take a few minutes, so we'll be right back. Okay, so Etcher is done. So we're going to pull this guy out real quick, and we're going to plug it back in, and we're going to see if all the files are there. My Etcher was actually acting kind of funny. So if your Etcher acts kind of funny, reinstall it maybe. I don't know. So let's check this out. Okay, so it looks like everything may be there. So we want to come in here. This is our boot drive. And we want to, first of all, we're going to rename this network.ini. So we're going to rename this just to network.ini. Yes. Then the next thing we're going to do is we are going to do a new, and we're just going to do a text document. We're just going to call this SSH, and we're going to take the extension off and say yes. Now that should enable SSH on first boot. So real quick, let's edit the network.ini and put our network information in there. No, we don't. Okay. So right now, I'm not going to assign a static IP. We'll go into the edge router in the next video and find this. So what we're going to do in this video is we are going to put our SSID and our passphrase in. So for this, my SSID and my passphrase, first my SSID is Willie Digital Signage, and the passphrase is "Oh, the wonderful places you'll go." So we did that. We're going to save that. We'll close this. We'll come back in here. We'll edit it one more time just to make sure that our edits took. Everything looks good. So what we're going to do is we're going to eject this guy. So we eject it. We're going to take the card out. Let me bring this back up. We're going to take the SD card out of this, and we are going to mount it into the Raspberry Pi. So I pulled the SD card out. I am going to take the Raspberry Pi out of the case that we just put it in. Takes just a second. Okay, so we pull the Raspberry Pi out of the case. We are going to take the SD card, and we are going to insert the SD card into, I am trying to do this blind, I'm flying blind, but you get the idea. So it's going to go into the Pi just like that, and then we're going to take this, we're going to put it back in the case, we're going to put it on the Wi-Fi. We're going to go ahead and put this back together now, but the next video, I'm going to break this up into 3 segments, and that's all I'm working on this week for videos besides network theory. So we're going to get these 3 videos out so you can have your own digital signage solution. And and you're going to see how well this thing really works. So that's it for tonight's video. So I'll put all the links to everything we use down there. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please comment and share. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Please come back for part 2 and part 3. We're going to do that this week. That is what I am committed to. So in the next video, we're going to boot this guy up. We're going to go into the web interface. We're going to talk about the assets and how everything works. And then we'll plug it into a TV. And then the third video will be all about security on this guy. So please come back for those. Please use those Amazon affiliate links if you're going to follow along with us. And you know, it doesn't change your price. It just kicks a couple bucks to the channel so I can buy stuff like this and do these new tutorials. So please come back and we'll see you in the next video.